The opportunity this evening to come out and to learn about our budget process. As many of you know, this is a culmination of a lot of work by many departments. In particular, I want to thank John Toohey, our comptroller, for the work that you've done with me, and all of our department heads who work tirelessly for months, starting in July, to be able to make this budget reality and to be able to make sure that this is a budget that works to meet the needs of all of our residents here in Kingston. And so you'll see that our budget theme this year is moving forward. And for those of you that remember, that was an important theme and part of my State of the City address earlier this year. I can't believe it was January already, but we're here tonight to talk about 2019 and to talk about our priorities, to talk about our plan, and to talk about our future here in the city. And so one of the things that I want to be able to just mention is that the city of Kingston is so lucky to be able to be where it is today. And just recently I was reading the chronogram, and the chronogram said, I got my clicker here, the chronogram had an interesting quote. The time for Kingston is now. And, you know, that quote resonated with me because it's something that I think many of us feel. They feel a very positive energy. We feel that there are people moving to Kingston. We feel that businesses are opening in Kingston. We're seeing positivity coming out in all aspects of life here in Kingston. But we have to recognize that the time for Kingston is now, but it's also the time for Kingston to make sure that everyone is raised up in the process. And I think that that's something that I feel really strongly about. It's something that I know many of you do too. And I think that that's something that you will see repeated time and time again in our budget priorities, is that we've got to be able to do this together. We have to be able to make sure that as we're working on our projects, we're keeping everyone in mind. And one of the very first initiatives that we want to talk about is our housing initiatives. And so one of the things that you'll see in this budget is a $3 million investment in housing that we're making. The city of Kingston is making sure that when we're having surplus properties come to us, when we're working with our partners in the nonprofit community who's working in foreclosure prevention, we're able to do so in a coordinated fashion that's putting houses back on the tax rolls and making sure that everyone that wants a place to live in Kingston can afford to live here in Kingston. And so through this initiative, not only are we proud to be able to create the Kingston City Land Bank, to be able to fund that operation and to be able to see 36 properties renovated and rejuvenated beginning next year, we're also able to move what's a critical component of this is our Office of Economic and Community Development and all of our housing programs into our city, into the core of the neighborhood that we want to work on. And so with the moving and the creation of this new property at 124 Franklin Street, you'll see a picture of it here. It's been boarded up, it's been abandoned for many, many years. And so this is a real opportunity for us to have additional opportunity to network with the neighbors, to be able to connect with the residents who need our programs, that want our programs, and also for us to make sure that as we are building these programs, that we are working hand in hand with the community because it's something that they've helped us develop. So this is a great start. And you know, we also are lucky to have partners. Not only do we have the Community Foundation of the Hudson Valley who's helping to fund this initiative, but we also have partners like the Kingston Land Trust who are working with us to be able to take it one step even further to protect the property that these houses are on so that these properties can stay affordable forever. And that's, I think, an important piece of the puzzle. So we also have the opportunity to work on public safety issues. And this budget, much of it is comprised of costs related to public safety. As you look through the budget, you'll see lots of numbers. But those numbers turn into really important programs and initiatives. And one of the things that we're extremely proud of in the Kingston Fire Department, and I want to thank Mark Brown for his work, because we've been able to get a fair 3-year deal with the Kingston Professional Firefighters. We've been able to invest in equipment And so we have a brand new ladder truck that was much needed, as well as another truck on order to be able to replace one of our engines that has over 100,000 miles. And it's with good planning, it's with good excitement to be able to do this, because our city is a city where we're still responding to 5,000 calls a year, and that's a lot of service that we're providing to residents, and it's done in a way that is unique, and it's done in a way that helps protect the health and safety of our community. And one interesting thing that I'll mention about the fire department is the ability for us to also look to the future. And we've recognized that this work comes with risk. And when people sign up to work in these public safety fields, they understand that there's a risk inherent in doing the job. However, those risks shouldn't come home with you at the end of the day. And one of the things that I'm really proud of, and I want to again thank Fire Chief Brown, because we're now able to, with this budget, we're proposing to invest $150,000 in capital funds to buy a second set of turnout gear for our firefighters so that they're not taking cancer-causing agents in their car, back to work with them, or home. And I think that we are one of the first agencies in the Hudson Valley to do that, and I really do think that, Mark, you deserve a round of applause for that. So when we talk about the police department, we see them out there every single day working hard to keep us safe, to be able to integrate with the community, and this budget helps to do that even more. One of the things that we're really proud of is a new partnership that we've developed with the Center for Creative Education to be able to work with our youth of our community and work with our police officers to bridge that gap, and to be able to make sure that we have well-trained police officers who are healthy, that love their jobs, working with youth in the community to be able to make sure that we have a vibrant relationship. And through our Peaceful Guardian program, we're excited. This budget helps to continue to support that initiative with additional training funds so that our officers can all get the necessary training that they need to be successful in the work that they do. And one of the things that people sometimes often overlook is the fact that we respond to 25,000 calls for service, and much of that service is because we want to help. And not all of it is crime. It's oftentimes people who have a loved one that didn't come home when they thought they were going to come home. And it's having us take that extra step to find that elderly relative who just got a little bit, mixed up on their way home from their doctor's appointment. And so that is the type of work that our police department does. And it's something that we should be really proud of, because we've continued to see declining crime rates. We've continued to see, an opportunity to have these types of unique community relations. And so, again, I want to thank the police department for all of their work. And one of the things that we're also looking forward to in the budget, and you'll see we've put funding aside in our contingency for next year to be able to settle the police department contract, which I believe will happen very, very soon. Public Works, oops, I went too far. Public Works, one of the departments that you interact with on a daily basis. Many people think of Public Works as, making sure that you think about them when they're picking up your trash, you think about them when they're plowing the roads, but there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes that happens under the road, that happens within our buildings, that happen in a collaborative fashion to be able to make our city actually work. And we've been lucky enough in the last couple of weeks to have a new deputy superintendent and a brand new superintendent work together as a team to be able to bring some much needed change to our department, and to really be able to recognize that we have failing infrastructure that needs to get fixed, that needs to be able to work the way it used to work, and with that, this budget helps support them. With over $1 million and paving funds set aside for the 2019 budget to be able to make sure that we're getting to as much of the city as we can. And we all recognize that, there are 45 miles of roads, 90 miles if you count each lane, and, we've got a huge amount of work to do to be able to catch up over years and years and years of the city just not having the funds. And again, we wish we had a magic wand and could make every single pothole in the city disappear, but we know we can't. But what I do know is that I've got a whole group of 50-plus committed staff who want to work for you each and every day to make sure that our city is getting, repaved and rebuilt piece by piece, street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood, and we're going to be able to do that. And so not only are we continuing to work on paving infrastructure, but we're also investing over $500,000 in our capital plan into the necessary equipment and tools, because we've got great staff, but we also need good equipment. And if you have a chance to see some of our DPW trucks and equipment, some of it is from before I think I was born. And so it's time for us to continue that investment, to continue to be able to make our city, the city that we know it can be from an infrastructure point of view. And what we just settled a 4-year contract with our CSCA group. And so I'm really proud of that, because we now are able to give some of our lowest paid workers a raise that they deserve, and allow us to be able to make sure that going forward we have systems in place between labor and management to really be successful, and to be able to know that this work is getting done, and it's getting done safely, and it's getting done in a manner that is also efficient with taxpayer dollars. On to one of my favorites, Parks and Recreation. We have the amazing opportunity here in the city to have over 110 acres of parkland, a number often forgotten about. 110 acres is a lot. If you think of your backyard, most of our houses are on a quarter-acre lot. And think of how much work you do around your house to keep your house maintained, your yard, your garden, your flowers, your walkway, your pavement. Imagine how that is on an entire city basis of 110 acres. And that's the work that the men and women of the Parks and Recreation Department do every day, often with not a lot of resources and with not a lot of staff, but they're able to go ahead and make our parks something special, and something that no other community in Ulster County has. We've got the largest municipal park system in the county, and one of the best, I believe, in New York State. And with that, we're able to do amazing programs. And for if you've ever visited or participated in a Parks and Recreation program, you know that our programs are top-notch, and this budget continues to support those programs. It continues to make sure that the facilities are adequate for our needs, but we recognize, just like with Public Works, we need to continue to make investments in our parks to be successful. And so with this will come a proposal to the Common Council to spend $100,000 of our Recreation Trust Fund to be able to make capital improvements in a variety of our parks, including Kingston Point Park, the Kingston Dog Park, Barman Park, Hutton Park, and a variety of other neighborhood parks. And I could joke, I guess, a little bit, where we are our mission at the Parks and Recreation Department is creating community through people, parks, and programs. And we may adapt it for 2019 to be creating community through people, parks, programs, and puppies, because we will be making improvements to the Kingston Dog Park to be able to make sure that the necessary improvements are able to be done in a timely manner. One of the other parts of Parks and Recreation that is an exciting opportunity for us, and one that I wanted to mention this evening, is Dietz Stadium. Dietz Stadium is a gem of one of, and if you will, a crown jewel of our park system. Most communities do not have a stadium like Dietz Stadium. It seats over 1,500 individuals. It hosts amazing events all year long, including Kingston High School's fanfare event this weekend. And so one of the nice things about this stadium is that we've always had a very cooperative relationship with the Kingston City School District. And through the recent Downtown Revitalization Initiative, we've received over $2.5 million to make upgrades to Dietz Stadium. And with that will come the transfer of Dietz Stadium to the City of Kingston for us to make those those initiatives happen and to be able to help support the world-class venue that we all know it can be. And so with this effort, we are going to be working collaboratively with the school district. We expect to transfer that property later this year, and we're excited to work with the Common Council to improve and this asset that the city has, and really be able to create what we all know it can be as a world-class destination that will continue to help generations of Kingston school district students, but also generations of our family have a place to go and recreate and play. And one of the things that's just off this picture that is just as important is Andretta Pool. And so as part of that $2.5 million, we will be making improvements to Andretta Pool, which is exciting for our pool users. We've talked a little bit now so far about some of the ongoing work of our city and kind of what's happening presently, but I think it's also important for us as a city to remember our past. And one of the things that I feel is really critical with our city, because we are such a historic city, founded in 1652. We have multiple historic districts. We have many historic landmarks in our city. We have the ability through this budget to help support that work. And so I have proposed to add additional administrative support to the planning department to be able to help support the Historic Landmarks Preservation Commission and their work so that we can make sure that we're putting our best foot forward when it comes to historic preservation, and that the staff is there to be able to back that up. And so that is included in my budget, and it's something that I think that the community has asked for, and it's something that I'm excited to be able to deliver in this budget. We're also working on some exciting capital projects, and one of them is part of our downtown revitalization initiative, where we're going to be able to work with our friends at the Friends of Historic Kingston to renovate the Frog Alley site. For many years, you've probably driven by and saw this quaint little park with a old building remnants. This is a great archaeological, really, because there's so much on the site to be able to interpret. This funding from the DRI will be able to help us really envision that site, to be able to open that site to the public, and to be able to make sure that our history is not lost to weather over the years. One other exciting announcement that I'm excited to make this evening is that the DRI was able to provide us $10 million to our city, but it wasn't able to fund all of the initiatives that we really needed to have funding for. And so one project that was not able to be included was the work that needs to be done at the Volunteer Firemen's Museum, the first meeting area for the Kingston Common Council. It's a historic building in the heart of Uptown, and it cannot be lost. It needs to be restored. It needs to be renovated. And so I'm going to be asking the council to move forward with those renovations in January of 2019 to be able to make sure that that building is safe, secure, and able to last for many more generations to come. And it will be a $500,000 investment, but that $500,000 investment will pay dividends for many years to come. And so I look forward to working with the Common Council on this proposal, and looking forward to working with the Volunteer Firemen's Museum in our efforts. Keep pointing at the wrong thing. One of the things that we have to do as we look to what's happening on a national level, we have to recognize that all of this work is important, but if we don't take into account what's happening right in front of us, we could have our work literally washed away. And so I want to hammer home the point tonight that climate change is real, and our solutions have to be real as well. And so we have a very exciting opportunity in 2019 to continue to build the resilient infrastructure that's needed in the city with a variety of projects, from everything from working on our bulkheads on the waterfront to continuing to invest in electrical vehicle charging stations and electrical vehicle infrastructure to being able to make sure that we have the right planning when it comes to open space here in our community. These initiatives are real, and the work that's being done is real, and it won't get it can't get any more real than having your street light changed out in front of your house to a new LED bulb, knowing that that is literally saving thousands of dollars a year of taxpayer dollars by swapping out a bulb. And so those are the types of projects that we're excited about moving forward with, and I'd like to thank all of our staff that are working in those areas, because we are at a critical time in our city, because this is real. We all love our waterfront, we love the community that we live in, but we also know that the pictures that you see on the right there, that's a real picture. That's a real event, and those events happen, and they happen more often, and our waterfront is going to continue to struggle. And so we need to do something about it. And I hope that you will join me this Friday at our High Water Festival, this Friday from 4 to 8 p.m. To learn more about what the city is doing and to learn what you can do to make sure that our waterfront does not get inundated, and we're able to make sure that we can adapt and be more resilient as we move through with our community. This is just an example of some of the work and some of the real planning work that we've been doing in our city, and it just shows that we're starting to take some of these projects and move them from planning to actual design and construction. And so we have a variety of projects that are happening in our city that this budget helps support in 2019. Many of them are located on a project called the Kingston Green Line, which is a series of trails, both on and off street, that are really able to help our neighborhoods connect. And so the Kingston Point Rail Trail is a prime example of a $1 million plus project that's going to be able to help connect Midtown to the waterfront that will be completed in 2019. And it's a project that's been long in the making. And with our partners at the Kingston Land Trust, an organization that I love and helped to found so many years ago, we're now able to also work on the corner of Delaware Avenue and Hasbrook. Work is beginning literally today, and that work is going to really help to improve a dangerous intersection. It's going to help improve how our neighborhood can have access to the trail and really be able to create that walkable environment that we want in our city. But it's more than just trails. We're also working on a major Broadway streetscape project where we'll most likely see our first shovels in the ground in 2019, being able to make sure that our Broadway really is our best foot forward when people come into our city. This project will be able to allow us not only to redo all of the sidewalks, to be able to make sure that the traffic is flowing smoother, all new pedestrian crossings and lights. This project will also help manage a lot of our stormwater that is falling on our streets. And so a $7 million almost investment in our city is something that we couldn't be more proud of. And it's getting recognized. Like these projects, whether it's the rail trail or this project, it's being recognized by the state. And so we were included as part of the Empire State's Trail. There could have been many areas that this trail went through, but the state chose Kingston. They saw that Kingston is a city that's on the map, and it's a city that's growing, and it's a city that's thriving, and we should make sure that we run our trail through there so that folks will be able to go all the way from Montreal all the way to New York, and anywhere in between, from a 1 mile walk to a 500-mile journey. Folks will be able to now come through the heart of our city and be able to get to where they need to go. And so we talk about all of this work, and we talk about all of the kind of the work of city government. And we could just do public safety. We could just do streets and sewers. We could just manage our parks. But there's more to life than that. And I think that that's something that makes Kingston special. We want to be able to focus on quality of life. And so I just want to show you just a little bit of a snippet of something that I think demonstrates exactly the great work that our Director of Health and Wellness is doing with our Live Well Kingston Commission. We'll see if this works.
I'm terrified of things.
it gives us a sense that our community can come together, can work together, and can do innovative programs to be able to make sure that seniors know how to access all of the tools that many of us take for granted now. And this can be done with partnerships. And again, I want to thank all of the folks at Emily and your volunteers that help to do these programs. So thank you very much. And so we're doing all of this, and we're doing this in a way that our tax rates continue to decline. I'm so excited to be able to announce that even with all of these initiatives and with all of these programs, we've been able to continue to show that we've been able to do all of this and be able to keep taxes stable and reduce tax rates as we go over the years. I know that when I was running for office, people looked at me and said, you know, hey, that's a progressive, liberal Democrat who's one of those spend and tax Democrats, and you know we're going to go ahead and not be able to manage a city budget and do all of that great work that you said you were going to do. This is now my third budget that we've been able to show time after time after time that we can do the good work, we can care about our neighbors, we can be innovative, and we can also lower taxes. And I think that that's a critical component of any city government. And again, I can't do it alone. I do it with a bunch of partners. Many of you are in this room that work each and every day so that we can deliver on this innovation. And so for 2019, the city tax rates per thousand are going to be at one of their lowest levels in many, many, many years. It'll be $9.74 per 1,000, and non-homestead will be taking a large drop from last year to being $15.59 from $17 and plus last year. These changes, again, help to show that when we budget, we budget as effectively as we can. And so to give you a sense of that, for an annual $150,000 assessed, or an average $150,000 house here in Kingston, you pay a total of $1,461, or you will, in 2019. That is your contribution to all of these amazing programs and initiatives that we just talked about it. And you can see here how it's divided in the 2019 fund. And so everything from having $366 for year-round police coverage, to $257 for public works, to a whole whopping $82 for recreation. The services that you're getting for this on an annual basis, I believe, is a great deal. And it's something that when you look at it this way, I think it really helps send the message that we are doing the best we can with what we have without asking too much from our local taxing jurisdictions. And so, to sum it up, our tax levy would remain the same and frozen at 2016 levels. So this will be for the fourth year in a row at $17,650,940 with a 0% tax increase. Again, we talked about tax rates. We'll be putting $767,000 into contingency to be able to make sure that the funds are there when we settle the police contract, as well as having some additional funds in the budget for any emergencies. We also will not be eliminating any currently filled full-time positions in this budget, and that all essential services will be preserved. And with that, I hope that you continue to stay involved. I hope that you continue to support the work that we're all doing. And I hope that you enjoy having a look at the budget. All of our budget materials are posted on our city website. To learn more information, you can visit it there. And so with that said, I want to thank everyone for coming this evening, and I want to thank you for supporting me and this administration for doing this work here in the city. And it's something that I'm always humbled to do, and I hope that this budget helps reflect your values as much as they do mine. So thank you very much.